All right, we've got a really important topic today, and that is what to teach beyond group classes. Okay, so especially at the end of teacher trainings, but I get this all the time in DMs, I see this in groups, I see this in yoga teacher groups that where people are looking for jobs. And what this is like, what do I teach? Or what they say is what they teach, but they don't share that they teach a process or a transformation. They just say, I teach nidra, I teach pranayama, right? And there's nothing wrong with saying I teach nidra or pranayama or meditation or asana or vinyasa or ashtanga or whatever, right? It's just that yoga teachers have this habit of seeing that as all they do. And this is why teachers are stuck in this space of wondering, how much do I charge for classes, especially when everybody else is so low, right? And it's extremely hard to get out of this space where you just offer group classes for low prices and say that you focus on ashtanga or vinyasa or gentle yoga or whatever. Here's how you move beyond that. Let me just grab a sip of my coffee here. You move beyond getting stuck in teaching a certain style when you take time to reflect on who you're going to be serving and what you're going to do for them, okay? Now, it's really tempting for yoga teachers at this point, really early on, to say, well, I'm gonna serve them by teaching them vinyasa or ashtanga or hatha or whatever. Plus, like, yoga is amazing, it changed my life, so it'll change theirs too. Well, your level of clarity on specifically how it impacted your life is going to be correlated to your level of pricing confidence. So if what I just described sounds familiar, it's probably a weird feeling to say, I'm gonna charge, I'm gonna have $1,000 offer. Well, $1,000 offer seems really expensive without 1,000 group and private classes, because all that's being said is yoga changed my life and I teach vinyasa. So like, what does that do for anyone, right? There's always a percentage of people who are just looking for one particular thing, and then there's always a lot of people who are just looking for something super general. When you're in the space of appealing to a lot of people for something super general, it's very hard to move those prices up. But when you're specific in what you help people with, and again, I'm not just talking about listing off the benefits of asana practice or meditation or pranayama. I'm talking about how the benefits that come from that practice will then be directly applied to the person's life. And over time, through continuous application of the benefits in the student's life, do you start to see a transformation? And you need to know what that higher level transformation is. Benefits of asana doesn't matter. People already assume that there's benefits that come with it. What they want to know is which of those benefits are specific to them, and what that means in their life when those benefits are regularly applied, right? So now, most yoga teachers don't even know what to say when they say, like, oh yeah, this practice is really great for your sleep. And they just kind of stop there. And the person is like, yeah, okay, right? teachers have this habit of just vomiting a bunch of asana benefits or pranayama benefits or whatever other physical practice is being done, and just vomiting these benefits for anyone who will listen, and then hoping that it sticks, and then feeling bad about charging any price. And a lot of teachers are also doubtful about what to offer. So here's how you can go beyond group classes. Number one is think about your journey and how you learned things that came off the mat, right? Like you learned things on the mat, but you also took some of those off the mat and regularly applied them. Like my practice with being confident or calm and listening to this train. That's actually a pretty quiet train today. All right, so, for example, in my own practice, I learned how asana practice could give me a lot of energy, mental clarity, and focus. So when I started teaching asana more and more, I started focusing on that, and I started focusing on how I could combine that to help people who were looking for that. I also tied in a lot of the physical benefits and showing students how to get stronger in their body so that they could feel more confident and focused when experimenting with more challenging asanas. But it wasn't until I realized that I have a business background in my education and a tech background in my work, and I love to travel. I love to teach yoga. I've gone down the whole rabbit hole and the travel yoga teacher and all of that. So I wanted to do something that combined all of those things, and I noticed that a lot of yoga teachers have a problem where they struggle with technology, they struggle to get themselves organized online, and they want more freedom in their life so that they can just teach or just travel or just eat. Okay, so here I can show them how to do specific things, right? Learn more about the tech, learn more about building systems online by using my background, and we can apply that in a yogic manner by applying the yamas and the niyamas. We can apply yogic philosophy. We can build our structures, our systems online in a way that is respectful to yogic values and their desires, right? Without giving up on being able to earn a decent living. And I think that's really important. A lot of people get really caught up on this path of, well, I'm more spiritual, so I don't need any money. Tell that to your flight provider. Well, don't you take my good sage? No, that doesn't count for your flight ticket. We need money. That's what everybody agrees upon as a medium of exchange of value for something else. Yoga teachers need that too. And I've noticed that a lot of yoga teachers feel guilty and bad around setting price because they feel like their fears come up that they're going to look bad, less spiritual to their students by charging higher prices. They're going to be afraid of just looking greedy and materialistic. And there's a pride, especially in the spiritual communities, about how poor you can be. And there seems to be this unproven fact, though unspoken claim, that was good, unproven fact and unspoken claim, that if you despise the energy of money or money, this makes you more spiritual. And if you raise your prices and earn more money, then by default, you must be less spiritual. This obviously comes from religion, and it's completely false. Case in point, if you struggle financially, you're probably not in a very spiritual place because you're stressed, you're anxious, you're worried, you're overthinking, you're scared about bills and when to pay for stuff. You find that a $10 subscription is a barrier to doing anything. So how does that help you show up at your best, be the best teacher, continue your education, offer amazing products and services to your students that help them on their journey? It doesn't, right? And for teachers loving to be all metaphysical and spiritual, we seem to forget that money is just energy. And when we get to that place where we've done the inner work to overcome our childhood traumas of being devalued and the religious dogma that money is bad, which, think about this, if money's so bad, how come churches ask for it every week? Whoops. So when you're figuring out what to teach, right, and how to raise your prices so you can make a good living for yourself, you'd really need to look at your journey and say, what was the thing that got me into yoga? Why did I start? Chances are that many other people got into yoga for those same reasons. Chances are that you went through a bunch of stages in your yoga journey to get to where you are now, right? Considering teaching online. So that means you went from being a non-yoga practitioner, big juicy mosquito there. You went from being a non-yoga practitioner to a yoga practitioner to a practitioner who thought a teacher training would deepen their practice, to taking a teacher training, to wanting to share the message of yoga, to wanting to know how to find students online, to wanting to know how to make this a full-time income with a part-time effort, right? Part-time schedule. Well, that just requires some skill and some work in the business area, but it also means you had to go through a process. You went through a bunch of different stages and you learned some lessons on the way, right? And you can help people at specific parts of each stage. So for example, yoga teacher trainings, especially at the 200-hour level, they help people who are wanting to learn more, usually about yoga and other physical practices like pranayama, nidra, meditation. And then they bring them into that philosophical component, that teaching practicum, learning more about the chakras and learning more about the mindset and the 8-limb path, right? So you have to take people from a specific place and bring them to another specific place. It's not your job to teach them the entire world, right? Part of your work is to say, I take people from here to here. And that really lets students know, hey, this is what I'm going to be getting. Is this the right fit for me? Because some people might go from here all the way to here, or here, or here, or here. And that's going to be impacted by, features and benefits included, length of time, cost, amount of support, resources included. So how much and where you're taking people to and from is a big deciding factor. And I'd say that's probably one of the biggest things you want to start reflecting on is, where are you going to take people from and to, right? Do they have an injury? Are you going to help them fully recover that injury? Are you going to help them get their first handstand? Are you going to help them come to a place where they accept their divorce? Are you going to help them lose a certain amount of weight? Are you going to help them, more confidently handle their wife or husband and kids? Are you going to show them something physical, like that they can measure in their body with some kind of test? Are you going to, there's literally so many things you can show them. And part of that is you having to decide what it is you're going to do. The reason for this is because this will define your name. It'll define what kind of content you post, what kind of offers you make, how you price your products and services, how many products and services you offer, how you speak to people, where you deliver. These are all important things, and yoga teachers feel like, great, I know how to teach group classes of asana, pranayama, or meditation, or nidra. I'm gonna just put myself out there, and it comes back to this full loop. This is why teachers don't know what to price, because they're not sure of what transformation they're specifically helping people with. Yoga's always gonna give a transformation, that's a given. But when you're not sure about what transformation you give, then it's really hard to try and quantify that in a price. And what I mean by that is, if you can't show people how you're going to take them from point A to point B with your yoga work, right? There might be other stuff beyond yoga, but yoga should be a part of it. If you can't show people, hey, I take you from here to here, and previously, not going from A to B was costing you this much money, time, stress, if you can't make that comparison of the journey that they're going to be making by themselves without your experience and support, and it's going to cost them this much, whether that's in services they have to pay for, or other bills, or lost income, or something else, right? I mean, if they have an issue in their life, and everyone has issues in their life that they're spending time and money on, they are willing to consider other options, provided that the other options can make a compelling argument about how it's going to shorten the time or reduce the amount of expenses, preferably both, right? That is huge. That's a game changer. So for example, if you can show someone how through yoga and a specific diet, you can help them reduce certain medical bills, maybe not completely eliminate their doctor or their prescriptions, but if you can say with medical data, like we'll get your blood tested for certain minerals or supplements or whatever at the beginning of our work, and then I'll show you with asana and diet and other stuff that I use, in this many months, this metric is going to be down, right? Maybe your cholesterol is going to be down, or your sodium is going to be down, or up, right? Depends on the metric. That's something where you can, and then you can say, look, when your metric, whatever that is, let's just say cholesterol, when your cholesterol is at this level, you don't have all these other things you need to pay for, and you feel this way, which allows you to do this with your spouse, to do this with your kids, to do this at work, to do this in your personal life. Do you see? This is how you grow beyond, come to my Zoom class on Tuesday at 4 o'clock, we do asana, it's got every benefit in the book, well, yeah, who wants to pay more than $10 a class for that? Like, all I'm getting is a group asana where a teacher says a bunch of poses. And yeah, the class is beautiful, and I feel good after, but only for a half a day or a day or 2 days, right? And then I have to pay for this again. So why would I pay more now when I can just keep paying $10 or $15 at a time and still get these benefits when I feel like it, right? Do you see, like, at this price range, it's not enough to really make me commit to anything bigger. And it's not enough that if I don't go, even though I've paid, I don't really care because it's such a small amount. And so teachers are stuck in this limbo place of constantly trying to get students to come because they're not invested enough, and they don't really lose anything if they don't show up and don't make any effort. This is why group classes are a very vicious cycle of just earning a small amount with students who sometimes come and sometimes don't. And to grow beyond that, you need to be very, very clear about that transition and that transformation you're going to deliver in their life, and what cost or time savings they're going to get. And there's other things you can offer them, like health and beauty and family time and social status and stuff like that. But the really big quantifiable ones that people can wrap their head around are saving time, saving money, making money, improving health, improving well-being, and social status. time and money are your two biggest ones. So bear that in mind. If you'd like to learn more about how you can move from group classes into an online yoga business that runs in the background for you, then I've got a link in the description down below. I'd love to share more with you. I'll see you inside.